On today's wrestling news, Tony Khan implies that WWE are sabotaging AEW.
A wave of NXT call-ups went down on SmackDown.
Cody Rhodes to wrestle his first TV match in 6 years. WWE TV, that is.
Oh, yes, and the WWE NXT titles have now officially been relinquished.
Are you ready? Are you ready for the news time? Yes, my name is Phil Chambers and I'm joined by Gareth Morgan to talk all things wrestling news. But before we get into it, make sure you like the video, comment down below what you think about each of today's stories, subscribe to the channel, and links to each story is in the description below, so click the timestamp and off you go. But first up, Tony Khan is on Twitter again. So I'm just going to read out a bunch of the tweets because it's just going to be easier to just quote him directly with this one. So his first tweet went up last night, and he said that an independent study has confirmed that much of the staunch anti-AEW online community aren't real individuals. It's a staff running thousands of accounts and an army of bots to signal boost them. Look closely, these aren't real people. Who'd pay for such a wildly expensive thing? Obviously implying that WWE are paying for a bunch of Twitter bots to boost up anti-AEW tweets. Now, he carried on with this, obviously. He replied to that just saying, "Ever wonder why so much of the activity on these accounts is retweets and replies? Like, who actually has 80% of their activity is straight up retweets?" And then he replied to this saying, "Research this one yourselves, you internet detectives thrive in these situations." And then he started talking about Rampage. And then he went on to say that their boiler room staff is going to be working overtime on a Friday, and I love it. Now, there is more that's come out of this since. Brian Alvarez, there was a quote of Brian Alvarez from the Wrestling Observer that went up onto Twitter, and then David Bixenspan did a tweet about that, sort of questioning it. And the quote from Brian Alvarez was that he said that Tony had commissioned the study using his own analytics company. Now, it turns out that Brian Alvarez was misquoted with that, but Tony Khan replied to the David Bixenspan tweet about it, just saying, "Not using my own company for it, hired an independent person to review it. I have no idea where Brian got that. I must now dock his $200,000 a month paycheck according to one of those preposterous lists where Dave also was receiving similar compensation," then retweeted by hundreds of bots. So Wrestling Inc. then reached out to Tony to get a little bit of clarification on what he's actually saying here. And they got a reply from him just saying that he's waiting for a final study, but here's what my expert confirmed. It's people with real live accounts making posts and then using their bots to manipulate the social channel algorithm by backing them up with engagement from a made-up Twitter identity. Social media teams will often fight on this. Bots are great for numbers, and when they're gone, you'll see a dip in digital conversation impressions. Both those were either negative sentiment or not real anyway. For example, if he tweets, "Mega only eats rotten bananas," and then he throws 18 bots behind it, which takes about 5 minutes to do, Twitter security can't differentiate when done well, neither can most social teams. The problem becomes every time people type Mega into the search bar because of a real account supported by the bots, the first suggested result would be tweets about Mega eating rotten bananas. It's oversimplifying, but that's the 5-cent version of what's happening. So basically, he's saying that WWE are taking very few real accounts that actually put up tweets that have anti-AEW sentiments, and then using loads and loads of bots to boost those tweets to go up into the Twitter algorithm. So it seems like there's a lot more anti-AEW negativity out there on social media. So this is what Tony Khan's been up to in his spare time. He doesn't have enough to do.
That's the first thing my mind jumps to with this, because I discovered this on the way home after finishing a show last night. I'm going to drop that in there as a plug. But we literally walking home, saw this entire thing unfolding, and where does he get the time? But I mean, you're running a football club, you're running an actual soccer club as well, for the American fans out there. And there's two wrestling companies now, and he sat there looking at Twitter saying, "That's an egg, that's an egg, that's an egg, that's an egg." It's strange. I mean, I can't say too much or he'll dock my pay as well. So
it's true.
It's one of them.
We are very much on that pay docket.
Yeah. Well, but then equally, I do have 200 bots that WWE have paid for as well under my name. Just to, add to
You've
the
got to
whole
play
way.
both sides.
Got to do it, man. Got to play the field. You never know where it's going to land. But it's strange. It's very strange. It's very much unprecedented. You've never really seen the owner of a wrestling company come out and just attack social media really in this kind of way. It's interesting, if anything. It's just another twist in the ever-changing and crazy story of Tony Khan, and it's the fact that underneath all these quotes, this is the kicker, underneath every single one of these big like things that deconstructing what's going down on social media with all these bots and all the rest of it, there were little plugs for Rampage. You had the plug of the Moxley Utah match and Bryan Danielson and Trent, and it was just like...
seamlessly went into it as well, from like conspiracy theory about Twitter to straight into plugging Rampage.
He's brilliant. He went from like the craziest promoter in the world to my favourite within posts, in the same post. He's nothing if not entertaining, Tony Khan. But this is definitely one of them we've just got to see how it all lies throughout. I think over the next week, a lot more information is going to drop. Maybe even today, more information will drop. So just keep an eye on it and grab some popcorn is what I'd recommend. Yeah. It's definitely one of those kind of things. But then back away from this, into the actual wrestling side of the wrestling world. Who'd have thunk it? That's probably a strong word to use actually for SmackDown last night. But we had the call-ups of a number of NXT talents, and a lot of people have already noted that this SmackDown after WrestleMania felt a lot more like the Raw after WrestleMania than the Raw after WrestleMania did, if that makes any sense, because there were loads of call-ups, loads of new surprises, new directions, that kind of stuff. And we had Gunther, and he's not called Marcel Bartel. Oh, no, he's not, because that would be too easy, wouldn't it, Phil? So now he's called Ludwig. I nearly forgot his last name because I'm scared of saying the wrong thing. Ludwig Kaiser. We've got as well. So there he is. He was announced, and he came out into the ring, and he announced that the Ring General Gunther was coming down, but we didn't have that incredible Imperium music that we've all grown to love and adore. That's not there anymore. We've just got generic big bad guy music. Gunther came down, completely destroyed Joe Alonso, who's an independent talent. He just massacred him. And there was no sign of Fabian Eichner, which is really sad. So there's no real clarity as of this moment if they're going to be known as Imperium still. But what's going to happen with Eichner now in the future down in NXT? That really upsets me, because all three guys have got themselves into incredible shape, put on some fantastic matches as of late, and it just feels like Vince McMahon's looked at all three of them and gone, yeah, too short, keep him down. It's just silly, very silly. But then on top of this, we've also got another call-up, one that I'm particularly excited about. Again, another stupid name change aside, this one's quite exciting because we've got Raquel Gonzalez now changed to Raquel Rodriguez. She's going to be on SmackDown. She's going to just bolster that SmackDown's division even more than it already is. And she pretty much said that in a backstage interview. She was like, it's really impressive around here, like loads of badass women, but I'm going to take over, I'm going to dominate. And then, of course, because this being WWE, they can't just let us have a nice thing, Los Lotharios suddenly came in and tried to hijack the whole thing, and she just parred him off. And she's there now, Raquel Rodriguez. I don't understand that name change. You didn't need to change that at all, in my personal opinion. We've got her. We've got the men formerly known as Imperium. It's new stuff on SmackDown, and at least it's not Butch again. So
this is true.
Not sure what to do with this.
Yeah, the Imperium one is weird specifically because you've got this perfectly packaged group that you've just steadily been messing with, like changing Walter to Gunther, and then now bringing up two of them and changing that name, and then leaving Fabian Eichner behind and things. And it's like everything about Imperium was a perfect package. The music was fantastic, the group, the clothes, like all of them working together. They've been working so hard to create this group and this amazing tag team, and it was all right there. It was right there for the taking, and yet you pick it up in parts and change it and mess with it. It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand. I'm willing to give it time to see what happens with Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser, I guess. But it doesn't make any sense. It was all perfectly packaged. It was ready. The music was fantastic. The entrance, the lights, the clothes, everything about it was great. And yeah, now it's all new. Yeah,
but
I'm definitely excited for Raquel Rodriguez. Yes. That's going to take a while to get used to.
Yeah, double R. It's I can't wait for that match against Ronda Rousey. The Battle of the Double R's. That is going to be a hell of a match. So just sign me up for that right now.
Indeed. But speaking of things happening in WWE, there is a Cody Rhodes match happening on TV for the first time in 6 years on Raw. He will be facing The Miz on next week's Raw for the first WWE TV match in 6 years for Cody Rhodes. The last time he was on TV was he lost to Zack Ryder on WWE Superstars on the 16th of May in 2016. And then the last match on Raw, he lost a battle royale for like a #1 contender spot for the US Championship, I think it was. So been a while, let's say, since Cody Rhodes wrestled on TV. Definitely going to be interesting to see him up against The Miz, who I guess is surely a face now after turning on Logan Paul, because nobody likes Logan Paul.
Yeah, a lot of elements
I don't understand what that was all about.
A lot of elements. Yeah, now you've said it. I completely bypassed that, because my mind went straight to WWE could not have chosen a more sports entertainment first match for Cody Rhodes if they tried.
Yes,
That's
which I'm not against.
Yeah, exactly. But it's now my mind goes to, well, surely Logan Paul is going to intervene and set up that match, which is pretty much one of the worst kept secrets right now. It's looking like that's going to happen at WrestleMania Backlash. So does he intervene? Does Seth intervene to set up a match against Cody, a rematch at Backlash as well? It's intriguing. This Raw, next week's Raw is looking quite, I was going to say tasty, probably a strong word. It's looking intriguing. It's looking like something.
Yeah, there's a few things on there. They've also announced the VIP lounge with MVP and Omos, which I think is a great team to put them together. They've also got Rey Mysterio versus Veer, and Sasha and Naomi versus Liv and Rhea Ripley. And that match, of course, that they got by losing a contenders match. That was good writing. And we've also got AJ Styles versus Damian Priest. So they are actually announcing things for Raw, which is new in itself.
Yeah, enjoy it while it lasts. It's probably going to be here for about 2 weeks, and then it's going to go back to making it up as we go. And speaking of which, WWE have been at it again, this time with the WWE NXT Tag Team Championships, because obviously there was a huge release earlier in the week. It was Nash Carter got released from NXT on the back of some very dodgy photos being released online, and a lot of allegations of domestic abuse against his partner. Just not very nice stuff, but we've documented that before in videos, and it's on our WhatCulture website as well, so go and check that out. But on the back of this, obviously he was one half of the NXT Tag Team Champions with Wes Lee as MSK. So a lot of people were thinking, what we're going to do with those belts? Like, what's going to happen with NXT going forward? Crazy times. But we've had light shed in it, because WWE have now announced via a press release that those titles have been relinquished from MSK. And it's looking like we're going to get a new set of champions crowned on Tuesday night on 2.0. But it's not really been confirmed at this point who's going to be in that match, whether it's going to be multiple teams, whether it's going to be like a battle royale situation, or they're going to follow through with Grayson Waller and Solo Sikoa, who were obviously announced together. They're going to be like taking on MSK. That was planned for this week before this stuff kind of all broke out. So maybe they're going to be in a match. Maybe Wesley gets the chance to get a partner and he can go up against them, or is Wesley just going to get dropped from the situation altogether? It's not really clear right now, but what we do know is those belts have officially been relinquished.
Yeah, absolutely. Right call. Don't think you can argue with this one after all the stuff that happened with Kimberly. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what they do with it, I guess. But that was the news video. Let's move over to your Twitter questions. The first one comes from Harley, who says, do you see Rhea Ripley having a heel run with Edge's faction after Monday, after not being with Liv last night and walking out on her on Raw? Or will Liv and Rhea turn heel together on Monday after losing to carry on their feud longer with Sasha and Naomi?
I'd love to see Rhea Ripley in that faction, not because I'm particularly over the moon and excited about the faction, because right now I've not really been given much of a reason to be, but Rhea Ripley excites me as a performer. I think having her in a prominent position where there's going to be time dedicated to that faction to tell stories, and it's something that's been a massive criticism levied at this company for quite some time, is that the women in, like, outside of the title pictures anyway, don't really get many decent stories to play with. And I think if Rhea is in that faction, she will get them. She'll just get them by osmosis. So hopefully, fingers crossed. And if you're going to bring Liv Morgan along for the ride too, she can get all grungy, put her in a leather jacket and have her decked in purple. It'll be great. Yeah, I'm up for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you. Make Rhea Ripley turn on Liv Morgan and put them with the Edge faction. Put her with the Edge faction as soon as possible. They need anything more to do with the women that isn't just like Carmella wanting to bonk Corey Graves all the time and things like that. So the more stories like this that you can weave into it, the better. And Rhea Ripley deserves a bigger role, a bigger spot. They've not done anything with her in a long time. So yeah, put her with Edge. It makes sense. It'd be interesting, at least. The next question comes from J. Antonio Teodora, who says, given the crowd booing Sammy and Tay on Rampage while cheering Ethan Page, also Sammy bad-mouthing Page's kid, what? How would you solve this problem? A double turn with Paige and Sky going face, maybe?
Yeah, Sammy's gotta go heel. I've watched that clip literally before we came onto the news, like minutes before, and he's not being presented like a babyface right now. I never thought I'd be backing Dan Lambert in this kind of back and forth exchange, but I certainly was, especially after the kid comment. It was just weird. But Sammy's already come out and said, I think he said it to Sean Ross Sapp, because he said exactly the same thing. He said, oh, you should probably turn heel. And Sammy just posted underneath it, nah, I'm all right. I don't want to do it. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing with this. It doesn't particularly interest me at this point. Like, it's just kind of there. It's just kind of happening. And when it does happen, it's just a bit like, that's probably not great. Let's just move over to the really good wrestling and watch Wheeler Yuta just bleed on Jon Moxley. That's what I do with my time, Phil.
Fair enough. Turn Sammy and Tay heel as soon as goddamn possible. This is not working. The stuff they're doing on Twitter, the stuff they're doing on the shows, it's not connecting with the fans. I don't know if the thing about this one is I don't understand how they ever thought it would.
Yeah.
Maybe this is just a weird plan where they're just going to turn heel, but without actually accepting the fact that they're heel and they still think everybody loves them, and that's like part of their characters. Maybe. That's the only way I can see them thinking this, because there's no way you book any of this thinking that this is going to keep them babyface.
No.
It just won't. It just never, ever will, and was never going to. So turn them heel as soon as possible. I don't think it should be a double turn with Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky going face, though, either, because I think they work better as heels. So I think you just need to separate this story as quickly as possible, cement Sammy and Tay as heels, and just go separate ways with this. It's not worked. Let's just get rid of it and move on, I say.
Let's forget it.
And the final question of the day comes from Kolfs901, who says, why is Marcel Ludwig dressed like the German bobsled team from Cool Runnings?
Oh, expert. Yeah, that's an expert observation right there. That was...
Yep.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
That's bang on. That is bang on. Yeah. It makes me think Roman Reigns was doing something similar now, though, a week or so ago. So it's kind of ruined that for me. But yeah,
feel the rhythm. Feel the rhyme. I
don't know where to go.
Yeah. I know, yeah. It's been a while. I do want to just end this video by giving a massive shout out to everyone we met in Dallas, because you were all bloody lovely, and thanks for making it such a good, positive time. It was a fantastic weekend. And thanks for coming out, and thanks for coming and saying hello. It was an absolute joy. But while we end videos, how do we end videos? Twitter, you can follow us over there. You can follow me at Phil My Chambers, and you can follow Gareth.
You follow me at GMorgan04, but I also want to say congratulations to all of you. I thought you absolutely smashed it over in Texas, because they're just epic. They were non-stop. They had loads of fun, but they were pumping out content all the way through. I was watching all the podcasts, all the videos. They were great. And I also want to give a little shout out to somebody I'm doing with the show with right now. I'm doing the Jungle Book at Oldham Coliseum, and one of my castmates who's playing Baloo the Bear, Neil, is a huge wrestling fan, loves the channel, so I'm going to give him a little salute, because he'll be watching this today and giggling his little heart out. So there we go.
Excellent. And yeah, there will be loads more content coming from Dallas. We've got loads of really good interviews from Wally Mania and WrestleCon that are still to come. There's a Johnny Gargano one that went out yesterday. A bloody lovely chap. One of my favourite wrestlers, and I actually got to meet him. And he's lovely. Really nice guy. So that's coming, and there's loads more. There'll be some coming this weekend, coming next week. We're just going to be bombarding you with loads of interviews, so make sure you look out for all of those. Give us a subscribe, like the video, comment down below what you think of all of today's stories, including Imperium 2.0, I guess, getting brought up onto SmackDown. But most importantly, have yourselves a bloody good day.
Bye-bye.